My beloved child. Sit with me for a moment and do not rush past these words, because what I am about to reveal is not noise, not imagination, and not coincidence. This message comes at a time when your heart has already been sensing a strange shift, a quiet tension in the air, a feeling you could not fully explain. You have been smiling, working, loving, and trusting, yet somewhere deep inside you felt a pause, as if life itself took a breath and waited. The people you love deeply are connected to this pause. Not in the way your fear might be whispering, but in a way that will challenge everything you think you understand about closeness, loyalty, and truth. Stay with me, because every sentence from here carries weight, and every moment you stay will uncover something you were never meant to see all at once. There is a hidden layer to love that most people never talk about, because it is uncomfortable, silent, and powerful. The people closest to you carry their own storms, their own unspoken decisions, and their own private battles, and lately those battles have reached a turning point. You may have noticed subtle changes, a delay in responses, a shift in tone, a look that did not last long enough, or a warmth that suddenly felt distant. These were not accidents. These were signals. Not signals of betrayal, but signals of transformation. Something within the circle of people you love is ending, and something else is being born in its place. The disturbing part is not the change itself, but the fact that you were being protected from the truth longer than necessary, because your heart is stronger than they realized. What you must understand now is that love does not always move forward together. Sometimes it moves in silence, sometimes it pauses, and sometimes it chooses different directions while still caring deeply. One of the people you love has been carrying a truth they believed would break you if spoken out loud. They delayed it. They softened it. They wrapped it in normal conversations and everyday smiles. But truth has a rhythm, and that rhythm is reaching you now. This is why you are here. This is why these words found you. The connection between you and them is real, but it is changing shape, and change always feels disturbing before it feels clear. Do not look away now, because clarity only comes to those who stay present. Another person within your heart's inner circle has been watching you more closely than you know. Not with judgment, not with envy, but with realization. They are beginning to understand your value at a depth that frightens them. Your consistency, your emotional strength, your quiet sacrifices, and your ability to love without conditions have triggered something inside them. They are questioning their own actions, their past choices, and their future intentions. This inner conflict is heavy, and it is influencing the energy between you. You might feel moments of unexpected silence followed by intense attention. This is not confusion. This is awakening. And awakenings are rarely comfortable for everyone involved. The most disturbing news is not that something bad is about to happen, but that something true can no longer be hidden. The people you love are standing at a crossroads, and your presence is the deciding factor in their internal struggle. Whether they step closer with honesty or step away with unfinished words will soon be revealed. You are not weak in this story. You are central to it. Stay grounded. Stay aware. This is only the beginning, and what unfolds next will redefine how you see love, trust, and yourself. Listen carefully now, because what unfolds next is not loud, not dramatic, but deeply unsettling in its silence. The people you love are not preparing for a sudden moment, they are slowly arriving at it. Decisions are being shaped in quiet hours, thoughts are being replayed late at night, and emotions that were once buried are now demanding recognition. You are sensing this because your bond with them was never surface level. It was built on intuition, shared history, and emotional memory. That is why the distance, however small, feels heavier than words. Something irreversible is approaching, not because anyone planned to hurt you, but because truth has reached the point where it refuses to wait any longer. One of the most unexpected realizations will come from understanding that protection can sometimes look like secrecy. Someone you love believed that by staying silent, by delaying honesty, they were shielding you from pain. What they did not realize is that silence creates its own kind of weight. Their intentions were not cruel, but their fear was powerful. Fear of losing you. Fear of changing the dynamic. Fear of facing their own reflection once the truth was spoken. This internal conflict has been draining them, and you may have felt that exhaustion without knowing its source. That is the cost of unspoken truth. It leaks into every interaction, every pause, every forced smile. There is also a subtle shift happening in how you are being perceived. The version of you that people once took for granted is fading. They are starting to recognize your emotional depth, your resilience, and the quiet strength you carry without demanding attention. This realization is unsettling for them, because it forces comparison. It forces accountability. It forces them to ask whether they have been fair, honest, or fully present with you. This is why conversations feel different now. This is why certain topics are avoided, while others suddenly feel heavier. You are no longer just someone they love. You are someone they must face truthfully. You may feel an urge to confront, to ask direct questions, to demand clarity. Pause. Not because you are wrong, but because timing matters more than intensity. What is coming will reveal itself naturally, and when it does, it will carry more honesty than anything forced. The universe has a way of aligning moments so that truth arrives when the heart is most capable of receiving it. This is not about patience as endurance. This is about patience as awareness. Observe the patterns. Notice who leans in and who pulls away. These movements are answers forming before words ever arrive. What happens next will change how you define love itself. You will begin to see that love is not proven by presence alone, but by courage. Courage to speak. Courage to stay. Courage to risk discomfort for authenticity. Some connections will deepen because of this moment. Others may soften, not out of lack of care, but out of honesty. This is the threshold you are standing on now. Do not underestimate its significance. The people you love are about to show you who they truly are, and in doing so, you will finally see yourself more clearly than ever before. There is a moment just before truth surfaces when everything feels unusually calm, and this is that moment. The people you love are standing emotionally still, even if their lives look busy on the outside. Inside them, something is settling, aligning, preparing. You might notice fewer unnecessary words, more pauses, and a seriousness that was not there before. This calm is not peace. It is readiness. It is the quiet acceptance that things cannot continue the way they were. And this is why your presence feels heavier to them now, because you represent the reality they can no longer avoid. One person in particular has reached a realization that changed how they see your entire relationship. They understood that you were not simply part of their life, you were a foundation within it. This realization came late, and that is what makes it disturbing. Regret is forming, not loud or dramatic, but deep and steady. They are replaying past moments, reanalyzing words they once ignored, and recognizing emotional efforts they did not fully honor. This awareness is uncomfortable, because it brings responsibility. And responsibility demands action, not excuses. At the same time, another connection around you is experiencing a different kind of awakening. They are realizing that their closeness to you has been driven by habit rather than intention. This does not mean they do not care. It means they are questioning whether they have been showing up with honesty or convenience. This inner questioning is causing inconsistency. One day they feel close. The next day they feel distant. This fluctuation is not your fault. It is the sound of someone confronting themselves, and that process is rarely smooth. You may start to feel stronger emotions surfacing within you as well. Not anger, not sadness alone, but clarity mixed with emotional weight. This is your intuition sharpening. You are beginning to see beyond words and into behavior. You are noticing who listens when you are quiet, who remembers what you never repeat, and who disappears when depth is required. This awareness is not meant to harden you. It is meant to free you. Because once you see clearly, you stop settling for uncertainty disguised as love. What is coming next will not arrive as a single revelation, but as a series of undeniable moments. Small truths will stack until they become impossible to ignore. Conversations will feel heavier. Silences will feel louder. And choices will become visible without being announced. This phase is crucial. Do not rush through it. Everything you are observing now is preparing you for a shift that will redefine your emotional boundaries. The people you love are being tested by truth, and soon, their responses will speak louder than any promise ever could. Now the tension you have been feeling begins to take a clearer shape, not because someone has spoken yet, but because energy always moves before words do. The people you love are no longer unsure about what they feel. They are unsure about what they are willing to risk. This is a powerful difference. Feelings are easy to carry in silence. Choices are not. You may sense hesitation in their actions, a carefulness that did not exist before, as if every step is being measured. That is because the next step will change the direction of your connection forever. There is a truth about love that few are prepared to face. Love demands alignment, not just affection. Someone close to you has realized that caring deeply is no longer enough if their actions cannot match the depth of that care. This realization has shaken them. They are questioning whether they can rise to the level of honesty and presence that your bond now requires. This internal struggle is exhausting, and it explains the emotional distance that feels sudden but is actually the result of long inner debate. They are not pulling away from you. They are standing still, afraid to move in either direction. At the same time, another person within your circle is experiencing a quiet awakening of courage. They are recognizing that withholding truth has already caused more damage than speaking ever could. This person is rehearsing conversations in their mind, imagining outcomes, and preparing themselves emotionally. You may notice increased attentiveness, deeper eye contact, or a softness in their tone. These are not coincidences. These are signs of someone readying themselves to be real, even if reality brings discomfort. This moment matters more than you know. You are also changing, whether you realize it or not. The need for validation is fading, replaced by a stronger desire for alignment and peace. You are no longer asking to be chosen at any cost. You are asking to be met with sincerity. This shift within you is powerful, and it is influencing everyone around you. People can feel when someone no longer fears loss the way they once did. It changes the balance. It changes the conversation, even before words are spoken. What happens next will feel both unsettling and relieving. Some truths will land gently. Others will challenge what you hoped for. But every truth will bring you closer to emotional freedom. This phase is not about endings alone. It is about refinement. The people who remain will do so with intention. The ones who step back will reveal their limits, not your worth. Stay present. The most defining moments are still ahead, and they will show you exactly where you stand without needing to explain themselves. What you are stepping into now is the point where uncertainty can no longer hide behind hope. The people you love are beginning to feel the pressure of decision, and pressure reveals truth faster than time ever could. You may notice that excuses sound weaker, explanations feel incomplete, and emotions surface more honestly than before. This is not collapse. This is exposure. The emotional fog is thinning, and with it, the illusions that once made everything feel safer but less real. Stay attentive, because the next signs will not come through dramatic announcements, but through unmistakable shifts in behavior. One person you care for deeply is confronting a painful realization about themselves. They are seeing that they benefited from your emotional strength without always reciprocating it fully. This awareness is heavy, because it forces them to face imbalance. They are now choosing between growth and comfort. Growth requires accountability. Comfort requires distance. Their hesitation is not about love alone, but about whether they are ready to evolve. This inner conflict explains why they seem torn between closeness and withdrawal. You are witnessing someone standing at the edge of their own transformation. Another connection in your life is moving in a quieter but equally powerful direction. This person has already accepted the truth internally. They are no longer confused. They are preparing to align their actions with their feelings. That alignment may surprise you, not because it comes suddenly, but because it comes with clarity. When it happens, you will feel it immediately. Conversations will feel grounded. Energy will feel steady. There will be less guessing and more presence. This is what emotional maturity looks like when it finally arrives. Within you, something important is settling into place. You are beginning to trust your inner voice more than external reassurance. You are recognizing patterns without needing to justify them. This is not emotional detachment. This is emotional intelligence. You are no longer afraid of losing people who cannot meet you where you stand. That shift alone changes everything. It removes desperation from love and replaces it with dignity. People respond differently to you now, because your energy no longer asks. It observes. The most critical revelation of this phase is simple but powerful. You are not here to convince anyone of your value. The people who truly see you will rise to meet you without being pushed. The ones who cannot will slowly fade, not out of cruelty, but out of honesty. This is where clarity replaces confusion. This is where love becomes intentional. What follows will define which connections evolve and which remain lessons. You are ready for that truth, even if it arrives quietly. Now the atmosphere around you begins to change in a way that cannot be ignored. The people you love are no longer just thinking about what they feel. They are feeling the consequences of what they delayed. Time has a way of pressing gently at first, then firmly, until action becomes unavoidable. You may sense urgency beneath calm voices, or sincerity beneath carefully chosen words. This is the phase where intentions start leaning toward reality. What was once postponed is now demanding expression, and silence is losing its power to protect anyone. One relationship in your life is approaching a defining moment. This person understands now that remaining undecided is itself a decision. They realize that by waiting too long, they risk losing the depth you once offered freely. This awareness is unsettling, because it exposes the cost of hesitation. You might feel them reaching out emotionally in subtle ways, seeking reassurance without asking for it directly. This is not manipulation. It is fear mixed with realization. They are beginning to see that your presence is not guaranteed, and that understanding changes everything. Another person is reacting differently. Instead of leaning in, they are preparing to step back. Not because they do not care, but because they recognize their own limitations. This recognition is painful, yet honest. They see that they cannot meet the emotional clarity you now carry, and rather than pretend, they are choosing distance. This may feel confusing at first, but it is a form of respect. Sometimes the most sincere act is knowing when not to hold on. This truth, though quiet, carries integrity. Inside you, strength is becoming calm rather than reactive. You are no longer searching for reassurance in other people's behavior. You are observing without panic, listening without losing yourself, and waiting without anxiety. This inner stability is new, and it is powerful. It allows you to receive truth without breaking and to release connections without bitterness. You are not closing your heart. You are anchoring it. And that anchor is self-awareness. What unfolds next will confirm everything you have been sensing. Conversations will become clearer. Choices will become visible. Some bonds will feel lighter because honesty has finally entered them. Others will dissolve gently, leaving understanding instead of pain. This is not an ending driven by loss. This is a transition guided by truth. The people you love are revealing who they can be, and you are finally ready to accept them exactly as they are, without illusion. This is the stage where everything slows down, not because nothing is happening, but because meaning is settling in. The people you love are no longer reacting from confusion. They are responding from awareness. You may feel fewer emotional swings now, replaced by a steady seriousness in how they interact with you. This calm is significant. It signals that internal decisions have been made, even if they have not yet been spoken aloud. When emotions stop rushing, truth is usually close behind. One person is preparing to speak with a level of honesty they have never shown you before. Not because they suddenly became brave, but because they can no longer carry the weight of silence. They understand now that protecting the connection requires transparency, not avoidance. When this moment arrives, it will not feel shocking in tone, but it will feel heavy in meaning. Words will land slowly. Pauses will matter. And what is said will change how you understand the past, the present, and the possibilities ahead. Another connection is quietly accepting closure without confrontation. This person has reached peace internally, even if they never explain it fully. They are letting go of expectations, redefining boundaries, and stepping into a different emotional role in your life. This shift may feel subtle, but it is permanent. You will notice it in the way conversations shorten, in the reduced emotional intensity, and in the absence of unresolved tension. This is not coldness. It is completion. Within yourself, a deep clarity is forming. You are no longer questioning your instincts or doubting your emotional responses. You understand now that confusion was never your natural state. It was a result of mixed signals and delayed truth. With that fog lifting, you feel grounded, present, and emotionally awake. This clarity is not loud. It is steady. It allows you to remain open without being vulnerable to uncertainty.